Many birds are beautiful and fun to look at, but don't underestimate them. Some birds are fearless predators that can wreak havoc. Have you ever seen a magpie in action? What about a stork? If you want to see some deadly birds, keep watching as we count down 15 horrific moments of birds eating birds. Number 15. Kara attacks. On the Falkland Islands, avian parents must remain vigilant. Karas are on the lookout, and an unattended nest can quickly turn into a buffet for these ferocious carnivores. The Johnny Rook is a bird that gets right in your face. These cunning animals, known as the Flying Devils, are the Kara of the Falkland Islands, and they gather with their young to scare both large and tiny species. They are fearless birds.
The Fanatic brings you all the best content you want to see when it comes to the animal kingdom. If you want to see the latest confrontations between animals and the best animal videos, please subscribe now. We post new videos every day for your entertainment.
Number 14. Skua. Skuas are among the most hazardous bird predators in Antarctica. Adult skuas eat penguins, especially their young, but even adults. Blood is streaming out of this newborn penguin as a skua pokes holes in it. After killing it, the skua consumes it. This skua is attempting to assault these 3 juvenile penguins, but the penguins team up to repel the skua. They are terrified of the skua, but every now and then, one of them charges the predator, causing him to flee. The penguins aren't going down without a fight. They continue to back up, but they do not allow the skua to harm them. The skua becomes irritated, and the penguins eventually persuade it to leave them alone. A brown skua outsmarts a female penguin who is in the middle of incubating 2 eggs, stealing one of them. As shown in this video, skuas frequently search for newborn penguins alone, and the penguins either flee or challenge the skua. It all depends on how they are feeling at the time, in my opinion. Number 13. Hawk attacks seagull. This squabble began when the seagull wanted to ride in the hawk's carriage to go shopping, but the hawk told the seagull it had arrived first. When the seagull objected, the hawk had no choice but to intervene, which it did by employing force. However, the hawk had an emergency to attend to, so the seagull was left uninjured. I'm not sure if hawks made a habit of attacking seagulls in parking lots, but here's another hawk pinning a seagull in the middle of a parking lot. Apparently, the hawk worked security at one of the stores in the mall, and the seagull stole a candy bar. That's what happens when you break the law. Another seagull is captured by mall security, but this time, the hawk has no mercy and kills the seagull. Crime does not pay. This hawk grabs the seagull and drags it across the road where there is a lot of traffic. The hawk decides it's hungry and eats the seagull for lunch. Number 12. Shrike attacks and kills prey. The shrike is a songbird that looks like a raptor and has raptor-like features. Shrikes are unable to hold their prey long enough to devour it, so they impale it on nearby spikes. They frequently aggregate kills among prickly shrubs to establish territory or attract females. This loggerhead shrike swoops down on a sparrow and begins dragging it around while eating it. This little bird reminds me of several of the larger animals we've seen in other countdowns. A loggerhead shrike kills another sparrow. This poor little boy was doomed from the start. This shrike delivered the bird to the slaughterhouse and wasted no time in getting it ready for dinner. The shrike impales the bird and plucks its feathers. The shrike is a lethal predator for such a little bird. As this shrike tears portions of flesh from the deceased bird, another sparrow bites the dust. In the dead of winter, this shrike kills and eats the sparrow. When the shrike is hungry, it appears the weather or the seasons don't matter. Number 11. Giant petrel versus penguin. This penguin is being devoured by these gigantic petrels, and the scene appears like a crime scene because it is. These giant petrels resemble a pack of wild wolves, gnawing and shredding flesh until there's nothing left. Adult penguins stand by and observe but do nothing. A giant petrel appeared when juvenile penguins were learning to swim. Because the lower part of the penguin's skull has less muscle, the petrel may attack with its beak more easily. The Gentoo penguin and his cub are in love. Will Daddy Penguin be able to save his children? The small penguin escapes once the bandit petrel loses its grip on him. Dad slaps and whips the offender in the midsection. The petrel flees, and the child makes it up the beach to safety thanks to his father's bravery. I have no idea what these petrels are eating because they have destroyed this bird. They essentially left only the skin behind. It appears to be a seagull, but we don't know for sure until forensics examine the dead bird's dental records. This gigantic petrel is devouring this baby penguin alive, and every time it tears flesh from its body, the penguin moves, pleading for compassion. But the petrel continues to feed, and the penguin will die in due time. Number 10. Seagull attack pigeon. In our thumbnail, this seagull crashes into the water to kill this penguin. It looks like the penguin didn't have much of a chance. Tourists were taking a stroll in Cannes, France, when they saw the seagull attacking and killing a pigeon. Just when a woman runs to the penguin's rescue, the seagull flies off with it. The seagull continued the massacre on the sidewalk, but the pigeon was still alive. This seagull attacks a pigeon on the roof of a house. The pigeon flaps his wings, but the seagull is not impressed and doesn't let go. The seagull begins to pull feathers out of the pigeon, before eventually getting to the meaty parts. This is a horrifying moment. A seagull ate another bird, scaring customers and passersby away from their meal. The bird caught and ate a vulnerable baby penguin while it is still alive, shocking the audience. Some people were said to have fled the scene because it was so dreadful. Others, on the other hand, had the fortitude to not only witness, but also film the entire gruesome episode on their phones. The video begins with the seagull pursuing a baby pigeon around an A-board cafe. When it swoops around the other side and snags the youngster with its beak, yanking it onto the open. The penguin makes repeated attempts to flee, but is eventually pecked to death, the victim's body quivering as the killer seagull feasts on its guts. A seagull picks a great place to hunt pigeons in an open plaza where there are hundreds of them. Hence, you can imagine how easy it is for the seagull to target a victim and accomplish the mission. Number 9. Kestrels. Mouse-sized animals are nearly exclusively eaten by common kestrels. Voles, shrews, and real mice provide up to 3/4 of the biomass consumed by most individuals. This kestrel is eating another bird. This kestrel stands on its kill and enjoys the fruits of its labor. Occasionally, it looks up to make sure it's not being stalked by some crazy predator that might want it to lunch, and the kestrel as dessert. This kestrel took down a pigeon, but when it hears something, it just takes off with its prey. The kestrel has made quite a mess eating this pigeon. Number 8. Magpies on the hunt. These magpies kill a bird, and after pecking a few times with the dead animal, they leave it behind and take off. This magpie attacks a sparrow, and just when this man was coming out of his house, he saw the magpie pounding his pointy beak into the sparrow's head until it was dead. This bird doesn't seem concerned about this crazy magpie being next to it, but perhaps it should. The magpie waits a few seconds before striking, and then it grabs the bird violently and takes off with it a few feet away from where they met. The magpie keeps assaulting the bird and then walks away. This bird is stuck in this enclosure, but a magpie makes sure it pulls it out of there and kills it in no time. Number 7. Black skimmers killing. The black skimmer makes the bird attacks in the movie The Birds look like an episode of Sesame Street. Look at how aggressive these birds are as they destroy these laughing gulls. This is a full-scale attack, and they're dropping everything but the kitchen sink on these poor gulls. One of the issues with the black skimmer's population increase is the fact that they murder young when nesting conditions aren't ideal. I feel bad for the young chicks because there's absolutely nothing they can do but endure the horrible ordeal the black skimmers are putting them through. The kills are not instant, and the chicks must suffer through bite after bite before they eventually succumb. Number 6. Heron attack ducklings. This heron decides to serve itself at the San Diego Zoo when it grabs a small duckling and swallows it whole. A mother duck can do nothing to defend her ducklings from this form of wild predator feeding behavior because the heron is hunting in duck nesting areas. Because ducks are much smaller than herons, a mother duck cannot successfully protect herself and her offspring against an aggressive heron who consumes ducklings. This heron grabs his duckling by the collar and repeatedly dips it in the water, probably prepping it so it will be easier to swallow. Another heron has caught a small duckling, and it doesn't take more than a few seconds before the heron swallows the duckling whole. Tourists immediately learned the herons were hunting little birds coming to the waterholes to satisfy their thirst after observing black-headed herons sitting around several of the waterholes in Gallagher. They spent nearly 2 hours at the watering hole attempting to catch one of them in the act. but they were unsuccessful. They were lucky when they arrived at another location and saw a heron catch 2 little birds in short succession. Given the lack of aquatic life, it's incredible how the herons have modified their diet to suit themselves. Number 5. Seagulls. This seagull attacks a penguin, but the penguin asks the seagull if it has lost its mind. It tells the seagull it is no giant petrel or skua, so it better pack its things and get going if it knows what's good for it. Herons, gulls, and other predators benefit from the number of young ducklings. Only 2 of the 10 to 17 young born in each nest survive the first year. The seagull in our video takes advantage of the situation and easily snatches one of the ducklings. It's like having a little midday treat for the seagull. Number 4. Sparrowhawk. This jackdaw gets more than he bargained for when the sparrowhawk decides to prep it for breakfast. We have seen how nasty magpies can be when they attack other birds, but the tables are turned on the mean magpies when this sparrowhawk pins one down for a count of 10 and eats it. This hawk manages to kill this magpie while it's fending off 5 other magpies trying to help their friend. It's incredible that the magpies are trying to help, but the hawk is tenacious and fights them off. This young male sparrowhawk has taken down a magpie and it's plucking at his feathers. Nature is brutal but also fascinating. Number 3. Pelicans. Pelicans have large jaws, but it's a good thing. Look at how this pelican swallows a bird whole without hesitation. The birds are simply grabbed as if they were candies in a jar. The pigeons fight for their lives inside the pelican's jaws until they are swallowed. I'd fly out of there if I were the pigeons. This pelican isn't attempting to devour its chicks. It's only a matter of feeding the tiny fellow. Imagine having to reach that far into your mother's mouth just to eat. It's not like it's staying in there for just 10 seconds. It's been there for a long time. I hope the mom uses scope. A flock of birds gathered in St. James Park in London to eat tourist breadcrumbs. A pigeon took a crumb meant for a pelican and ate it. When the pelican got angry, he decided to eat the pigeon instead of the crumb. Number 2. Falcon attacks. This falcon catches a seagull and keeps it pinned while it tries to kill it. The seagull is desperately trying to free itself when a woman comes with her cane to remove the falcon. However, a man intervenes and asks the woman to move away while he removes both birds and walks away. It's not like he removed the falcon from the seagull, he just walked away with them and left them exactly as they were. This falcon holds on to a bird when another bird tries to annoy the falcon. The other bird is probably related to the victim and is trying to help it out. The poor bird is screaming for help while the falcon bites into its neck. It seems this bird's destiny has been decided. This falcon flew in and killed this beautiful female parrot. You can see the falcon has the parrot pinned and it's biting the parrot's face. I'm pretty sure the parrot is dead, and if it's not, it will be soon. The falcon tears the parrot in half when it's joined by another falcon that wants a piece of the action. The second falcon takes a few bites and takes off. I guess it wasn't that hungry, or it was told to scram. This falcon has made a kill and it perches itself on this pole, biting chunks of meat off its prey. These falcons prepare to snatch bats in midair as they launch a complete aerial attack. Watch as they approach their target and grab it with ease. As they are flying, returning to the nest with the goods to feed their young. Number 1. Stork. Look at that obnoxious bird, the stork, chowing down on worms and chicks while clapping his bill. That's a vicious bird you've got there. A fully grown male can reach 150 centimeters in height, with a wingspan of more than 2.5 meters and a bill that is more than 30 centimeters long. Storks make fantastic parents. Long after they have learned to fly, adult birds are known for their parental love, feeding and caring for their children. When food is scarce, black stork parents have been known to kill one of their fledglings, usually the weakest, to reduce their brood size and maximize the odds of remaining nesting survival. This white stork decides to kill off her baby, perhaps because she has had enough of it. In the nest, these two storks are spending time with their young. One of the storks decides to fly away for a while. When the stork returns, he witnesses his partner throwing one of the babies out of the nest, but does nothing but stand there and watch. The second baby is then snatched, and the stork throws that baby out of the nest as well. Both storks seem happy, and they can now enjoy a romantic dinner now that the nest is empty. This mother does everything she can to ensure other 3 girls are well cared for. Unfortunately, she does it in such a way that it is painful to watch for us humans. One of the babies is being beaten up, and the stork crushes its head before placing the baby on the nest edge. What perplexes me is how much pain she inflicts on the small bird. Rather than killing it all at once, she takes breaks in between mangling him to death, letting him live until he falls off the edge of the nest. This countdown showed the brutality of nature, but these birds need to eat. I guess it's the violence some display when they kill their prey that throws us off. My favorite has to be the falcons catching the bats in midair. Which one was your favorite? Why don't you let us know in the comments below? Well, that's our countdown of 15 horrific moments of birds eating birds. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and let us know in the comments what you think. Check out our other videos and subscribe to be part of the fun. Click on the notification icon so you can see our new videos as soon as they're uploaded. That's it for now.